So I took titles from the three major streaming video providers and did a couple of things to try and create an overlap report. So I normalized the titles by removing strange characters and putting everything in lowercase. So, like colons, dashes. It doesn't get rid of apostrophes because those are, grammatical. Um, so it was a really fun formula that I found. I did not write that. Um, Anyway, and then I found a formula that would count a comparison between different sheets and then just, did that 3 times. And then I struggled to get these total overlap counts because when you put it within the table, if there are any errors, then it gets really sticky. And if you want to sort things, it's going to break. So uh, for some reason, it worked perfectly with no problems on the Kanopy one. But then for this one, for the Films on Demand and the Avon sheet, I had to add this like error one to not count ones that were broken. So you can see, Canopy Films on Demand overlap on the Films on Demand page says 663 titles, but on this one it says 664. What's interesting is that the Avon overlap, Kanopy-AVON on the Kanopy page is 2008, and on the Avon page it's 2010. Um, and then we got 2393, 2394. So there's some weird, glitchy things. However, it's an okay start. Um, with this Kanopy one, I did a sort based on the titles that did exist in Films on Demand and in Kanopy. You could also, and I'm sure this is going to absolutely confuse my laptop. We'll see if it manages it. Um, and the Kanopy one is the smallest worksheet. Um, so you can see that um, there were some duplicates, which is weird. It could be that there are, like 2 episodes or 2 different providers of these titles, which are quite generic. Um, but it's now, because I've taken the count out of the table, possible um, to sort. However, from having done manual comparison, yeah, not responding. Manual comparison work in these title reports, I know that a straight title comparison is not representative. So I'm kind of wondering if any of you guys have any suggestions of like additional without getting into like fuzzy logic, because oh no. Um so yes, so for some reason the sort stuff works on one page and not the, and I honestly don't understand um why. So I'm trying to get this to be a very like clean, cool tool. Um, I'm thinking about trying to create some kind of slicer with a search ability so that rather than having to scroll or like use a control F, um, there'd be a fourth page where it'd be like search for, and then it would return um, title matches and which service they are in. Um, so I'm working on that. I also would like to like increase the chance of things matching if they're going to match. But I'm not quite sure what other match points I might be able to add. One of the things that I did with Avon was I copied the series names as well because like episode 1, 2, and 3 don't, not helpful. Um, but the series that whatever these guys are from has a title and that shows up, and that might be the title that's in Films on Demand or Kanopy. So like the total number of titles for Avon is like 78,000, even though the number of portfolios is not that high because I used the title list from the product page instead of exporting. When I one of these I think it was Films on Demand, and I'm going to try and get a new title list because this was one that I did have to export from the portfolio um list, and you can see it's got these terrible like episode numbers, um and some of them are useful, but some of them are like clearly not part of um the title. So they're just like chapter numbers, and I that's probably stopping them from potentially matching. Um and I'm not going to go through and like manually clean that stuff up because who knows how many we'd be looking at. So anyway, anybody have like feedback on this, like what might make it more useful for you? If you have any suggestions of how I might do the coding on some of this or find additional match points, I'd love to hear it because if I can get this kind of like really solidly functioning, um, then I will share it on our website so that it's available and easy to peruse as you consider your streaming packages. Would anyone like to?
So,
Oh, yeah, go ahead,
uh,
George.
yeah, I'm just curious. Are the bibliographic records coming from each vendor? So, Films on Demand records and Canopy records and Avon records, are they coming from the community zone, or where are
So
they?
the Canopy titles are from the Canopy title list um that I received from Nicole, the Canopy vendor. And so they're not full bib records. Um Avon came from like the Avon uh what product page. But Films on Demand, I can't find a title list. Um, so I just grabbed this one um and downloaded the bibliography, which is basically um it's pretty simple. I'm sure I mean I've still got it. Let's see. mm, yeah, so here's the K-base title list. Here's the academic video online. So this one has more in there. So what I did was like for the series, I copied all of them and then I removed duplicates. Um, but it doesn't have much detail in here. For the K base, I used oh, this one, and I think this is my already cleaned up one that, yeah, that's my already cleaned up one, but uh,
Yeah, the reason I was asking is looking for match points possible match points to use, but it looks like its title and series are
yeah, and
all you really have to work with.
yeah. Well, and I'm trying to open, hold on, the original films on demand extract from the portfolio list. Because obviously, where is it? Where is it? I would have been doing this. Um, so when I take them from the portfolio list, I get portfolio information, but I mean, like, that's not going to help either. Um, and this doesn't even have the series name. So you just get all kinds of crazy. Um, and then Canopy, let's see, what did she give me? So, well, that's, this is an example of a Canopy one. Um, so it's got a Canopy ID number and again a title, but then yeah, and it's not even like, oh, okay, well, they have modern Marvels and I can look at coverage information. Um, it just says modern Marvels 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the individual titles of the episodes um are somewhere like listed elsewhere. Because yeah. Um so yeah, I don't
I'm not sure there really is a good way to do this with like any of the tools that we have on hand.
yeah. Um and so then I mean I can kind of keep trying, like keep learning about fuzzy logic lookup. But often that's not even the issue. It's that they name it Modern Marvels here, and then in here it's, you know, a number and a title. But when it comes to visualizing the overlap, would it be helpful to have um like a percentage attached to the number of titles here, or do you think that's really just going to be off-putting to people who might not be familiar um, with the problem with matching film titles? Because, saying there's only 2,000 overlaps in 78,000 titles, I know that's not true. Like, um, and Melinda, you're dealing with this with the audiobook stuff. I mean, I could certainly try and do some title matching for you in this with normalization. But yeah, I don't know. I think, figuring out how I could potentially have a screen where you could search a title and, or search a keyword and see if it was in one of the three lists would be really good. Is there another like potential use that I could work into this for anybody? Uh, yeah, managing. Oh, nice. Y brain. I would take that. Um, managing streaming video is, it is such a challenge because there just isn't the same. Well, what if I did some kind of bibliographic record export in analytics? What could I do in that? Anybody have thoughts? Of course, the issue is like Kanopy isn't in the NZ. Um, who has something? Olympic has films on demand. Yeah, this overlap issue like has been, I mean, and it is an issue for everybody as we try and figure out, where the actual value is. Um and it seems absolutely ridiculous that there's not like a better way to do it, because I got Canopy's fuzzy logic um look up and I was like, I don't even understand this. Um and I didn't know how to like tweak it to possibly make it more effective. So Now if we do there's like nothing in here. Do streaming videos have OCLC numbers?
If you're getting the records from the vendor, probably not. And probably not in the network zone.
Hmm.
In the network zone where the serial records have OCLC numbers,
Mm-hmm.
that's in part related to a project that Concert is doing.
Mm. So like and then it's electronic collection, filter on this. I'm just interested to see um, what the list of films on demand would look like in this analytics report compared to what I um, exported from the portfolio list. So let's Arnolfini. Let's So this is what it looks like in here. And that's what it looks like here. So it's the same. I wonder if these yeah, so not really all that helpful. Okay. Well, sorry to be working through this on the meeting. I was like hoping there would be some brilliant nugget that we struck upon collectively that would, improve this uh tool so, fantastically and immediately. Uh but um yeah. What? Well, I will now that I at least have the like total number of titles that are matching figured out because my first iteration that I shared with Seattle, I did not have that figured out. But now that I have that, I will put the OneDrive link on the website and somewhere and probably share it out in the listserv as well. Um, so that if you need to access it, you can. And if you want to download it and play with it and see if you can make it work better, you are certainly welcome to. Um, but with um with the Kanopy deal, there's 20 days left of it being like a killer steal, if anyone's school is considering it. And then with Infobase, kind of entering the arena of wanting to make a deal with us, I really wanted to be able to um, highlight the differences uh, in the collections, something, but yeah, it's not not so simple. But anyway, yeah, and I've run this report. I'm going to compare this to what Alma has found when I've run the overlap report through a college. I mean, we could look at that right now. I know I ran it for Whatcom and see what their numbers look like on a title match. Um, because if I'm getting higher numbers, then there's definitely no good reason to use the collection overlap analysis tool um, in Alma. Here, just got to find the right comparison. Which one? Uh, uh, let's see. So they got an overlap of 1,400 titles between the Kanopy list that I uploaded, so I know it's the same one here, and their stuff, and I think they've got um academic video online. Okay, no, they have films on demand. So they're getting a Kanopy films on demand overlap of 1,400, and I'm only getting 663. So I'm gonna keep working on getting higher numbers because clearly there's something that that Alma can do. However, yeah, I don't know. All right. Kirsty, did I go in and do overlap reports for you?
I don't know if you ran overlap reports in Alma. If you did, I didn't see them. But then I wasn't really looking, so.
Yeah, I feel like I did them for somebody. Maybe I was just kind of messing around with the different campuses. Um, okay. Yeah. So who has films on demand or Avon?
We've got both.
Okay. So for total, it's coming up with 3,100. And that's actually not too far off then. I mean, it's not, it's 20% off, but it's not, you know, a lot off. So 3,100 versus $2,600. I will probably take a look at this result here, see what else I can do. They must use some minimal fuzzy logic. And then once I can figure out fuzzy logic, we would be able to replicate this outside of Alma, which would be a lot easier to do our own visualization tools with, without, you know, you can send a librarian to a report that I've made instead of having to explain how to use the overlap tool or run a report for them. Anyway, so that's what I was working on last week before I was out of the office. And as far as other electronic resource management, we had talked a few weeks ago, or maybe it was more than a month ago now, about Gale ebooks and getting those records activated. And I'm still working with Yakima because for whatever reason, when we exported the records from Gale, it inserted the Washington State Library login, like easy proxy login, instead of letting Alma append the Yakima easy proxy. And I've gone through and updated URL and changed proxy settings on thing. Yeah, so I'll definitely keep you guys posted if we get that successfully figured out, and I'll try and remember to like write up the instructions. Clearly writing up instructions is my weak point. Yeah, the Kanopy deal. What's up?
There's my unmute. So I went back through my old notes, and way back in like last February or something, we talked about it. The Canopy deal as a call, but I don't recall any new info. And I think that we were in the black hole of all our systems off.
Yeah. So the new info is more just that the quote that we received in late spring, or maybe it was as early as February, with the 20% off is a firm quote until the end of this calendar year, which means that you also get the 3% discount from the price increase that went into effect on July 1. In addition to, like, you still have access to all the titles that got added on July 1. And if you sign a deal, and it doesn't even have to be like live, but if you reach out and sign the contract before December 31st, you will get your institution's quoted price, and it will be a July 1 to June 30, so it will be prorated if you start January 1 or February 1, and then it will have the 3% increase every year, but you've already like avoided the first year's 3% increase. So we have a little bit of time on that. If you don't sign with them by the end of the year, we still have the 20% off discount in play, but after December 31st, the July 3% increase will be taken into account, and we'll get a fresh quote with the current list price and then our consortium discount.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. We're still on the $2 per play package, so
Mm,
I think it's a challenge for us to even compare uh apples and oranges. So, okay, that's good to know. We don't have to act on something immediately. It's the 3% increase is really the only thing at play. Is that the way to
yeah.
understand it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious to know what you are ended up paying. Because the quote prices were so fantastic. Like you guys are one of the bigger schools. Um, but hold on, let me see if I can find the quote document.
And I think I had from back then, it was going to be like 29.40, but I don't know if I got the right number.
That sounds right-ish. Um, yeah. Like where maybe it's in my OneDrive.
And Canopy is something that one of our other librarians is involved in managing. So I don't have access like kind of at my fingertips to
to
what we
what your
paid either.
usage.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and they're ones that don't do so yeah, 29.40. Um, which really is a killer deal. So but your FTE right now is about 5,000.
Yeah,
And
I'm
if
not
you're
on top
doing
of what it is right now. Yeah.
$2 a play, yeah, you're probably not paying even $2,000.
I will check in with my person who works on that.
Yeah. So, and you might, because I don't know how many that's the other thing is I don't know how many titles you have access to
Right.
in that um system and whether she's having to like mediate requests at all. Um, so I don't know, but um, yeah. Well, an Infobase is of course who knows how long that will kind of take to materialize. But yes, I would say general advice is even if we're working on some kind of deal, if you have a current contract with a vendor, sign your renewals. And if we get a consortial purchase going, um, I will if we can get you switched into like a consortium all in deal, I'll get you a refund or credit toward the package. And you know, try and as opposed to what a certain unnamed vendor did when they took over a certain state contract and existing contracts had to be paid out at full price, even though the state contract was taking effect and subscribers were also paying for that. So yeah, um, yeah, I'll negotiate anything like that if we do get like a big all-in deal. So for now, if anyone's asking about renewals and whack to click, like deals, um, just renew and we can negotiate refunds, credits, prorates, etc. if we do get something collectively. All right. Well, tomorrow, the 10 a.m. meeting, I'm going to try to assist with as much letter configuration work as I can. So bring your questions and the ones that aren't working, and I'm going to try and talk about the XML and XSL and how um, the like preview affects final, and how to configure the parts of letters and all the rest of it with the new interface. So it certainly will not be an expert presentation, but hopefully with strong attendance, we will be able to talk through um, folks' problems and maybe get some things fixed, and everybody can learn a little bit. So, yeah, that's the plan for tomorrow morning. And then there are, I think I literally just looked at this, and of course I cannot remember. Um, Obviously there are not calls during like the week of Christmas and um, New Year's, but next week we do have a couple more calls. However, the Tuesday one is the open tickets review, which I'm not seeing a bunch of stuff pop up, so it may get canceled as more and more people are out on vacation. So, we'll see what we can learn about letters tomorrow. And as you all get your quarter breaks and survive finals, I hope you have, some great time off and a chance to rest and relax. Even the week of Christmas, when it says I will be out of the office, I am in fact like reserving a couple hours a day to check on patron loads and any emergency tickets that come up. So I will still be reachable in case of emergencies. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, well, have a great afternoon, and I will see you all again in the future.